Where do I need the school math anyway? This is a question that usually comes up at some point on why we learn things in class. And in this series, I want to talk about a few use cases where we actually need it, if you work in the respective field, of course. So in this episode, I want to talk about functions. So if you remember functions, for example, if we have two dots in a coordinate system, per calculation, we can find out what the function will look like, right? And the same goes, of course, if we have three dots, for example. And in the Laffer curve, which is the practical example, it works like this. In this case, we have on the x-axis the tax rate, and on the y-axis the revenue. So the Laffer curve says, if we have zero tax rate, and that makes sense also, if we have zero tax rate, right, the state won't make any revenue, right? Because if there's no tax rate, the state won't get any money at all. And the same goes for 100%. So if we have 100% tax rate, they won't make any revenue because nobody would like to work anymore, right? So those are the two dots we have. But we do know that the state is making money out of tax rates. So this is how the Laffer curves comes into play now. Because let's just say we have a 50% tax rate, right? Just for it as an easy example. The curve would look something like this. And that means that at some point, right, let's just say at 20%, we would have this revenue. And at 30%, we would have even more revenue for the state, and so on. But there is some turning point on which when you increase the tax rate, you earn less money as a state, right? So if we just say for this example now, it's 50%, it means that if a state would raise the tax rate to 60%, you would think, more or higher tax rate, more revenue, but that's actually not the case because people are less likely to work because they have to pay so much and companies will go to different countries and they will outsource. And this is what the Laffer curve is all about. It should demonstrate on where this turning point is because nobody knows where this turning point is. There are a lot of different things we have to consider when we talk about the Laffer curve, but just as an easy example on where the school math by creating a function out of a few points is really relevant in later stages of your life if you work in the respective field, of course.